Let's talk about a feeling I'm willing to bet you've experienced. It's that quiet, nagging sense of being a fraud. That you're playing a role, and at any moment, someone is going to tap you on the shoulder and say, "We know you don't belong here. We know you're just pretending." It's called impostor syndrome, and it's an epidemic in our modern world of performance. We live our lives on a stage. We've been told to cultivate a personal brand, to think of ourselves as a product to be marketed. We have a professional stage where we perform the role of the competent, ever-productive employee. We have a social media stage where we perform the role of the happy, successful, and adventurous individual, carefully curating the highlight reel of our lives. This performance is exhausting. It creates a constant, low-grade anxiety, the hum of an engine of impression management that is always running in the background. We are terrified of the audience seeing the cracks in our mask because we have tethered our sense of self-worth to their applause. This raises a profound question. What if the goal isn't to perfect the performance, but to get off the stage entirely? What if true, unshakable confidence isn't found in the validation of the crowd, but in the quiet, solid ground beneath your own 2 feet? The Stoic philosopher Epictetus believed this was the only path to a life of integrity and peace. He taught a principle that is the ultimate antidote to the anxiety of the performer. When someone is properly grounded in life, they shouldn't have to look outside themselves for approval. This idea of being properly grounded is the destination. It's the state of having your own internal center of gravity. What does that mean in practice? It means your life is built on a foundation of your own chosen values: honesty, discipline, compassion, courage, rather than on the shifting sands of external metrics like your job title, your follower count, or the opinions of others. A grounded person still listens to the world, but they are not ruled by it. They judge their actions against their own internal scorecard of values, not the external scorecard of public opinion. Praise doesn't inflate them, and criticism doesn't crush them, because they are anchored in something deeper than the fleeting atmosphere of the moment. The American philosopher Ralph Waldo Emerson, in his classic essay Self-Reliance, echoed this same sentiment. He urged us to trust our own inner voice over the deafening clamor of society. A person who is properly grounded listens to the applause and the boos, but their ultimate direction comes from their own internal compass. Let's look at this in the modern world. Consider 2 types of leaders in a company. The first leader is ungrounded. Their primary motivation is seeking approval from the board, from shareholders, from the media. They make decisions based on what will look good in the next quarterly report, what will generate positive headlines. They chase short-term wins and are terrified of taking principled but unpopular risks. They are constantly looking outside for validation that they are a good leader. The second leader is properly grounded. They are anchored in a clear set of values and a long-term vision for the company. They listen to feedback from all sources, but their final decisions are weighed against their internal principles. Is this right for our employees? Is this sustainable for our future? Is this an honest and ethical course of action? This leader is willing to be temporarily unpopular in service of a greater long-term good. Their sense of worth comes not from the applause, but from knowing they acted with integrity. The first leader is a performer. The second is a steward. This state of being grounded is incredibly desirable. But if it's so great, why is it so rare? Because the path to get there is terrifying. It requires us to do the one thing our ego, which has been trained from birth to seek approval, fears most. And this brings us to the second, paradoxical and deeply challenging instruction from Epictetus. If you truly want to improve, if you want to become so skilled, so wise, so grounded that you no longer need the world's applause, then you must be willing to do one thing. As he says in his discourses, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Let that sink in. Be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Why is this so difficult? Our fear of looking foolish is not a modern vanity, it's a deep, primal fear. For our ancestors, social exclusion from the tribe could literally be a death sentence. The feeling of shame, of being judged as incompetent, is a legacy piece of mental software designed to keep us safely in the middle of the pack. But in the modern world, this same software that once kept us alive now keeps us from growing. Epictetus understood that the desire to appear smart and competent is the single greatest barrier to becoming smart and competent. True improvement in any area of life, your career, a skill, your own character, requires a period of incompetence. You cannot learn a new language without stumbling over grammar and sounding like a child. You cannot learn to code without writing broken programs. You cannot become a better person without confronting your own ignorance and making mistakes. The fear of looking stupid is the silent killer of our potential. The archetype for this principle is Socrates. The oracle at Delphi once declared that no man was wiser than him. Socrates was baffled, so he went on a quest, questioning the great politicians and poets of Athens. He discovered they were experts in their fields, but they mistakenly believed their expertise extended to everything else. Socrates concluded that he was the wisest. For one reason alone, he was profoundly aware of his own ignorance. His famous line, "I know that I know nothing," is the ultimate expression of being content to be thought a fool in the pursuit of truth. This ancient wisdom is perfectly mirrored in the work of Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck and her research on mindset. Dweck discovered that people generally hold one of two beliefs about their abilities. A fixed mindset is the belief that your intelligence and talents are static, unchangeable traits. A growth mindset is the belief that your abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work. A person with a fixed mindset lives in a world of performance and judgment. Every task is a test that could reveal their inherent limitations. They are terrified of looking stupid because they believe it's a permanent verdict on their character. Therefore, they avoid challenges, give up easily when they face obstacles, and ignore useful negative feedback. A person with a growth mindset, however, lives in a world of learning and improvement. They see challenges as opportunities to grow. They see failure not as a verdict, but as a lesson. They are willing to look foolish and stupid because they understand it's the necessary price of admission for getting better. Epictetus's advice is a direct command to adopt a growth mindset. This is the price of any real transformation. Think of the successful lawyer in her 40s who quits to become an apprentice baker. She must shift from a fixed mindset, where she was an expert lawyer, to a growth mindset, where she is a baking learner. She must be content to be thought foolish by her former colleagues for giving up her status. And she must be content to be thought stupid by the head baker as she learns the basics of her new craft. This period of foolishness is the necessary crucible for her to forge an authentic life. It is the only path to becoming properly grounded in a life of her own choosing. Think of the modern courage it takes to learn in public. Someone decides to learn a new skill and documents their entire clumsy, imperfect journey online. They are actively choosing to be seen as foolish and stupid. But in doing so, they embrace a growth mindset, get feedback, learn faster, and build a true, earned confidence that is based on the reality of their progress, not on a performance of perfection. So, the two ideas from Epictetus are not separate. They are a perfect, sequential system. The journey to becoming properly grounded, where you no longer need to look outside yourself for approval, is a path that runs directly through the valley of being content to be thought foolish and stupid. They are two sides of the same coin of authentic self-development. You have a choice. You can live your life on stage, clinging to a fixed mindset, constantly adjusting your mask, and living in fear of the audience's judgment. This is a life of safe, stagnant performance. Or you can choose to get off the stage and enter the workshop. In the workshop, you will adopt a growth mindset. You will be clumsy. You will make mistakes. You will be a beginner, a fool, an apprentice to your own potential. It will be messy, and there is no audience to applaud your early efforts. But it is in the workshop, not on the stage, where great things are built. It is in the workshop where you can become properly grounded in a life of your own making. This is the path to true confidence. Not the brittle confidence of the performer, which shatters with the first sign of disapproval, but the quiet, solid confidence of the craftsman, which is built from the inside out through 1,000 small, imperfect efforts. Remember the formula that Epictetus gave us. It is a two-part journey from slavery to freedom. First, you must have the courage to take the path, the courage to be a beginner, the courage to learn. Because if you want to improve, you must be content to be thought foolish and stupid. And when you walk that path long enough, when you build your skills and your character through authentic effort, you will arrive at the destination, a place where you are properly grounded in life, and you no longer have to look outside yourself for approval. That is the journey from seeking validation to building your own inner citadel. Thank you for joining us today. If this video gave you the courage to embrace your own journey of improvement, please like this video and subscribe for more tools to build a resilient mind. We'll see you next time.